could forget that 7-game series in the first round of last year's playoffs between the Kings and the Oilers? And you know what? Let's run it back, because that would be so fun to watch yet again. The Oilers will once again have home ice as the higher seed, but it'll be Game 1 in Edmonton, 10 o'clock Eastern on Monday night. Let's hear from Jay Woodcroft on what he expects for this series.
There's a lot of things that go into trying to find success, and in the end you have to find a way to beat one team 4 different times. And we know that whoever we get in terms of an opponent is going to be a very, very good hockey team, and it's going to require a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of attention to detail. And that's what the playoffs is all about. It's finding a way to be at your best when the other team is at their best. And whoever does it harder and longer is usually the team that wins. I've used the term dress rehearsal here over the last while. That's what that 82-game regular season is all about. It's so that you can grow and build and capture moments that help you be the best that you can be when it really matters, and that's starting next week.
Yes, and to be exact, that starts Monday at 10 o'clock Eastern, and we can't wait for that. Whenever teams face each other in the playoffs, it just enhances the rivalry. But what about facing teams the next year, right? The exact same scenario. How do you think that might factor into this year? Or are there different enough teams where it won't matter?
Well, I mean, I think there'll be plenty of motivation regardless. I don't know if they're going to hate each other more or try any harder, but there is familiarity. And I think there's so many people that played in both series that okay, what worked last year, what didn't work on both sides. And, of course, the primary objective for the Kings is going to be okay. So how do we possibly try to slow down Connor McDavid? Last year's back-and-forth seesaw affair, Edmonton found a way to get it done at home in Game 7. So maybe there's a bit of motivation there, but maybe there's a bit of confidence for Edmonton. So it kind of swings both ways.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the adjustments that they do make, because they did see. LA has done a pretty good job with Connor McDavid. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it again this year in the playoffs, because I love Connor McDavid and the Oilers, as we've talked about. But they're going to have to focus on what changes Edmonton's going to make, too, to their system now, where they're going to change their break-ins, the neutral zone, the breakout. What little switches are they going to make? And all the little jockeying is what make this part of the season so much fun, is seeing where the coaches' minds are at.
Now, the Kings have kind of fallen off a little bit, but maybe, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, a lot of people were picking this team to come out of the West because of how dominant they looked over the course of what was a 12-game point streak. And one of the things that they did so well in their first couple of meetings, not so much the last couple of meetings, the first couple of meetings against the Oilers was shutting down McDavid. What do they do? What does their system provide for in terms of shutting them down? So
McDavid had 3 points in 4 games. It's atrocious by his standards.
Right,
it's really poor by his standards. Right? I mean,
terrifying
games. What LA does that is unique to them is they have a neutral zone system that they play very well, a 1-3-1, that is designed to not let the opposition skate through the neutral zone. The one thing that Connor McDavid does better by a mile than anyone else is skate through the neutral zone. And so it's kind of what system designed to take away his best attribute. And so if you can slow him down, make him dump it in occasionally, then you've given yourself at least a chance. Not a good chance, but a chance anyways. And I think the system and how good they are at playing it takes away maybe some of the strengths of Connor McDavid.
And that goes with the discipline that we're going to have to see from LA, as well as discipline in penalties. We know what that power play can do. Special teams takes over in the playoffs. They win a series in a heartbeat, and Edmonton has got a horrifying power play.
Horrifying being excellent.
Yes, the best
great.
ever in NHL history, north of 32%. So, yeah, you're right. The Kings have to try at all costs to stay out of the box. When you look in between the pipes, I'm not quite sure who I give the edge to here. Perry, what do you think about this matchup if we're assuming it's Korpisalo versus Skinner?
Well, obviously, you look at Korpisalo right away. I think of that 80-save game night he had in the bubble. He can do it in the playoffs, right? He's excited. He's coming from Columbus. He's getting an opportunity with this young team that he can take charge of. Stuart Skinner, the young rookie, I love the excitement around him. I like the Cam Ward aspect. That, they're a little young. Maybe the inexperience helps a little bit, and they're so excited they just go out there and play their game and do their best and give their team a chance to win, and that's what Stuart Skinner's done.
Cam Brady's had a really good year, start to finish. He's kind of been the goalie they thought Jack Campbell was going to be.
Right.
Just a solid, steady, reliable, consistent. Doesn't have to be Shesterkin, but he can't be terrible because the team's good enough to get by with just above-average goaltending, which he has given them. But I think Korpisalo has been such an astute pickup by the LA Kings because his numbers cumulatively on the year look similar to Skinner's. His numbers in LA are lights out good. He gives up 2 goals a game. He's got like a .930 save percentage. He's given them, the Kings on their great run this year, did it with some of the worst goaltending in the league prior to his arrival.
Yes.
And he was a goalie for one of the worst teams in the league.
And he's playing in Columbus, so the numbers are not going to be good when you're playing in Columbus this year. So, I think he gives them that sort of puncher's chance where their goaltender could steal games. And this series is going to be tight. And if he can steal 1, maybe 2, that might be enough to swing it in LA's favor. Don't sleep on how good Korpisalo is and has been in LA.
Yeah, and then if you're speaking about the Edmonton Oilers, the knock on them last year, albeit a team that did go to the Western Conference Final, but it was goaltending. Again, we mentioned Stuart Skinner has elevated his game, went to the All-Star game this year for the Oilers, but it was also just their defensive structure as a team, right? They have to somehow be able to keep the puck out of their own net. That's where Mattias Ekholm's addition, I think, gives this team the edge they needed, the edge they missed last year. Would you agree with me?
Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Wow. I mean, they're already playing well, so it's not all Ekholm, but it is a significant addition given what he does and how he also stacks the rest of their lineup. Darnell Nurse was carrying too much of the load and struggled because of it. Ekholm can slide in behind him on the second pair left shot guy, take on some heavy lifting, pair up with Evan Bouchard, and that's the other part of it. So he helps Ceci and Nurse in the first pair, but he's also made Bouchard a very solid, steady top 4 defenseman. The offense he's provided, that's a surprise. He's not supposed to do that. But I looked at the numbers, and Bouchard and Ekholm together have like a 64% expected goal rate when they play 5-on-5, taking on tough matchups. That is some of the best in the entire league in the 20 games they've been together. He has changed the complexion of this team entirely. Now, they play better as a whole, but personnel-wise, he's been such a huge addition.
The confidence that he gives them is absolutely incredible. We joked in Minnesota, did Darnell Nurse send a thank you note to Ken Holland as soon as that trade happened? Because, wow, the weight that it took off him, and he can just sit back and relax. Everything has come together. It gives everybody more confidence. Even the forwards have more confidence to go out to do their job. They know they have another big stalwart like Mattias Ekholm back there. If I make a mistake, no big deal. We'll get a turnover and get it back going the other way in a heartbeat.
To the point where Ekholm's first message with Bouchard, his first game, was when Bouchard made a mistake, that's exactly what he said. Don't worry about it. Nice. Make the same play next time. Make the same play. We got it. No problem. Like that kind of reassuring veteran presence to help a younger guy with a new partner. And boy, have they ever clicked.
Yeah, and playoff experience too, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I know
time.
he doesn't have championship experience. He does have a Cup final appearance with the Nashville Predators, but I think he's made the playoffs every year that he's been in the league.
Like, it's better to win the Cup. Everybody wants to say that they've done that. But to suggest, like, because you won that last game, you're somehow better in the playoffs than Ekholm, who's gone all the way there and plays every time. Not at all. He has playoff success in his past.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah. All right. That series kicks off Monday night at 10 o'clock Eastern in Edmonton.